Hey there, lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of We the Panel, a Terrace House podcast, a podcast where we watch the original series of Terrace House, Boys and Girls Next Door. This episode, we are on season 3, episode 5, or week 30, and this title is Losing Love and Finding Love. Losing Love, Finding Love.
You got
So before we jump into it, my name's Tim, and let me introduce you to this week's panel. So first, Cheska, our resident TikToker, how you doing this week?
Oh, let me update you on some TikTok trends then.
Ooh.
So I've been on WandaVision TikTok. I've been on Bridgerton TikTok.
Nice.
I've been on a lot of types of TikTok, so it's great. All great.
Nice. New trend. Like it. I actually haven't seen WandaVision yet, so no spoilers, please.
What?
Watch it. Watch it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy.
Mhm.
Sorry, go on.
Okay. And next we have the man himself, the sound genie, our local James. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, man. WandaVision is cool, but we're not a WandaVision podcast. Unless you want us to be.
Unless we can, yeah.
WandaVision.
But yeah, it's the three of us today. Jay, if you're listening, hope you're having a good time doing you. I don't know.
Happy
you can catch Jay
Valentine's
streaming,
Day.
which is great. Oh yeah, also happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Valentine's Day,
We are
guys.
recording this on February the 14th. So yeah, Valentine's Day. That's cool. Did you guys do
Kinda
anything
suiting.
special? Anything different?
Socially distancing, the huge
Nice.
online Valentine's dates. I feel like this week's episode in Terrace House and today being Valentine's Day is just a really great coincidence.
Mhm.
Losing love, finding love.
Yeah, lots of love stuff happening. Cheska, did you do anything special today?
Oh, being the only single one in this group. I got bubble tea, and it's a treat myself day, as I
Valentine's
should.
Day.
Yes, as I
Galentine's.
should.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Yeah, I had a day, made some cookies. It was nice. But anyways, enough about us. Let's get into Terrace House, right?
Yeah.
So as Tim said, episode 30, Losing Love, Finding Love. So what happened last episode?
Oh, sorry to cut you off, James. But before we do get started,
There you go.
We the Panel, a Terrace House podcast, can be found on all podcasting platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, James,
Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts.
A bunch of other places. You can find all of that on our Anchor, which is anchor.fm/we-the-panel. But also you can look for us on the actual apps themselves. If you just go to the search bar, search up We the Panel, you see the brown background with the gray house. Hey, that's us. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, save it. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. And also comment down below on anything that we say. If you agree with anything, disagree with anything, we just want to start a conversation. But yeah, the episode. What happened last time? Long story short, Seina's gone. Michan is here. Miwako is here. And yeah, there was a big focus on, like in this episode, like I felt like there was a big focus on kind of like the struggles of Hana and Daiki's relationship. But like I feel like we'll get to that later. I just want to kind of talk about Miwako first, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah,
There's the whole
go for
thing
it.
about like Miwako meeting everyone, which is really nice. And I don't know, oh man, Taechan and Daiki, this episode, in terms of like Michan, they were yeah. Chess, how'd you feel about Taechan and Daiki this episode?
I mean, comparing the two, Taechan's the most mature out of the both of them. And that is a crazy thing to say because we've been calling Taechan the baby of this whole entire thing and the most innocent. But the way he reacts to seeing Michan's
memories,
No, sure.
Sure.
breastises.
Yes. You know, he's like, we shouldn't be seeing that. I don't think we should be seeing that. But, you know, Daiki, even though he has a girlfriend, he's like, you know what? Let's just look. You know, it's bad. Let's just look at it. I'm like, are you kidding me? What have a girlfriend? Dude, this is just creepy. This is your housemate.
Not to like I don't disagree with you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also not saying this is how I feel. But just to play devil's advocate for Daiki, you know, maybe he just wanted to find out more about this new member, right? You know, like if I hear that like someone new that I met is like a model, I'm like, okay, yeah, like what type of modeling do they do? Is it possible to find them? Like, I don't know, like there's always that curiosity. So maybe he just kind of like jumped on it and there you go. And also, if you're talking about that scene where we actually did get to see Michan's model
Opais.
Sure. Yeah, it wasn't just Daiki. It was Daiki and Aya.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, that's true.
And Aya's a little instigator, you know?
Very, very
I
true.
think she is, yes.
So I don't think it was all bad.
Hold on. Here's the thing, though. He could have just glanced and then that's it. This man zoomed in with Aya, zoomed in, zoomed out, zoomed in, zoomed out. Like, it was unnecessary.
I think he was just playing games with Taechan, because they mainly did that with like when Taechan showed up, just to kind of make fun of him, because you know Taechan's been the butt of every joke, I guess you could say, in the house.
And he was like pretty giddy when she walked in, so
very. which is something that we could definitely talk about as well. Like Taechan, I guess in general, just like Taechan when a new girl shows up is very giddy. And Daiki even kind of made like a comment on that, right? Right, Tim?
Yeah, he most definitely did.
Yeah, Daiki was like, hey, like you gotta kind of chill a little bit when a new girl comes, because like your smile is like almost pervy. That was like to quote Daiki, or at least to quote like the subtitle. Like they said he was kind of pervy when a new girl shows up.
I feel like Daiki's projecting. Because
Maybe.
Taechan didn't make the comment about her large breast.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Taechan didn't even notice until Daiki was like, dude, did you see? He's like, what? He's like, yeah, like
Eyes up here, Daiki.
Okay, but if it just like devil's advocate again.
Taechan's the one. Daiki's the one with X-ray vision, man. Because that top was very family friendly, business casual, totally fine wearing that. Like I didn't notice anything, but apparently Daiki saw when she bowed.
I mean, hey, she bowed, they bowed. Maybe he looked up, and it's just. Hey, I'm picking at scraps here, guys.
Well, I mean, okay, Daiki's definitely coming off way more pervy in my opinion. But when him and Aya were looking at it, like I think it was just like Daiki aside, like I think it's more of the sheer curiosity of it, because even Aya was like blown away. He's like, how, like just because like. I mean, after seeing the picture that they were looking at online, like I wouldn't have even guessed from how she was wearing like her top. Maybe it was Photoshop in the model, in the what's her like
Bravure model.
Yeah, like Japanese swimsuit model. Like maybe it's like that Photoshop in that industry, but like, damn, like those are like. Okay, I'm sorry, but like no, like I'm not doing it. Like it's just sheer size wise, like. I would be saying the same thing if I went to the gym and I saw some dude shredded with like biceps the size of my head. Like just like, yeah, I guess proportionally, it's just really, like, yeah, it's like, sorry, maybe I'm coming off pervy now, but like,
yeah, maybe we should move on.
Move on.
Yeah. Let's stop talking about this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess staying with Michan or Miwako,
Mhm.
is she into Daiki? Yes, no, question mark. Remember she had that conversation with Aya, and I was like, hey, out of the three guys, which one? And she's like, Daiki. You know, like she likes fun guys, adults with a boyish kind of charm, and that's basically Daiki, right? Like,
Yeah.
Or Taechan.
Ah.
Well, the next scene proves it. We'll talk about the next scene.
okay, yeah. Tim,
Yeah,
talk
right.
about the next scene, sure.
Okay, well, the next scene after the whole Michan thing with Aya and Daiki, the boys are in the room, Taechan, OG, and Daiki, and they're talking about, I guess, OG's last encounter with Seina and where he should be moving forward. And so Daiki and Taechan kind of end up pushing OG into calling her again. It's like, set up another date, like, do something. We'll see what happens, because like, show her you're passionate, do something. So he ends up calling her, and while he's on the phone talking to her, these two guys like end up putting snowboarding goggles and shades while he's talking to Seina, trying to arrange a date, and they're just like goofing around and like, just broing out. So I think they're both like the same maturity level, I guess, in that case, of like just being like men with boyish charm. And so while OG's talking, Taechan does something and writes on on a piece of paper, because I guess OG's rambling, and it just says, "Get to the point." Which, I mean, I'd say it's probably solid advice. Like,
Honestly, yeah.
just get straight to the point, right? How many times did we see that like successfully work in getting a girl to say yes to a date? Daiki did it with Hana. He just showed up. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's go. Taechan, not with Rie, but I think with Hana at one point. He's like, hey, oh yeah, Hana again. Like, hey, yeah, what are you doing? Let's just go do something. Let's go out, right? So being direct clearly is like a favorable thing in Terrace House.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for OG, Seina says no, or like she doesn't want to do a one-on-one date, but rather she wants to have like a date, like a day out with everybody. And yeah, that's the end of the conversation. And OG says to the guys, "I just lost my second match."
That was a great way to put it, honestly. That really was. Like, oh man, that was so I felt so bad for OG, because like the guy's trying, and I feel like Seina can tell that he's really trying, but she just really does not want to like go out with him. Like, you can tell. But I don't know, the way that she's doing it is kind of like, I don't know, like, Chess, would you have done it in a similar way? Like, would you have been like, hey, I'd much rather with like all of you guys than just with you? Like, how would you have been, like, if you were Seina, how would you like go about that situation?
Like, as I said when we were watching it together, she made it very clear that she's not interested in him. So like, I think how she approached it is like, I guess, a win for her, just because like she can get to hang out with her friends and still see OG, but like it can't be one-on-one. And like, this is where I'm like, OG kind of needs to like step down and just accept that he can't go out with Seina, because she made it very clear that she's not interested in him. And like, even though he is trying, like there needs to be a time to stop, and this is the time to stop, OG. I'm so sorry.
That is true. OG should definitely move on. But speaking of OG moving on, we did have that scene where he was talking to Aya, and like even the actual like panel, like they called it too. They were like, yo, Aya went on like a full on attack mode when talking to OG. She pulled out all the stops, like Doraemon just pulled it out of his pocket. Like, she had the whole like, in the blanket, the hood is on, paying attention like this. I think they said like she had like a look where it was like she wants to fall asleep or she feels like she's gonna fall asleep, but she wants to still pay attention to the conversation. Like it's hey, Aya and OG, like
I could see that.
yeah.
I could see
same.
it happening.
Same here.
She had that look in her eyes, like you know those vibes when you're talking with like you just like I guess met somebody or you're talking with somebody and you just want to spend all night talking with them sort of deal. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's already like 5 a.m. We've been talking all night. You know, like I definitely got those vibes from Aya.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah.
both like yeah, they're both really timid. Both soft-spoken, timid, quirky in their own way. Like Aya's really into the blue cartoon character Doraemon, and then like I don't like you see OG in his modeling film like a couple episodes ago, and like even though he's a model and he's a good-looking guy, he's like I don't like the way he holds himself is like a really like, for lack of a better description, like awkward. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Very, very
I don't know,
to
like,
himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're both quirky, and I think like they really like they're on the same wavelength. I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you
There's
guys
definitely
think?
like there's a certain chemistry when there are two people that have an interest in like having a conversation, you know?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
like Chess, you feel that too, right? Like they have some sort of chemistry going on.
Yeah, 100%. If anything, I ship her and OG more than I ship Seina with OG.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
you know, I want to see how this goes. Hopefully, no heartbreaks, but we'll see.
Yeah. What do you think like what do you think a date between Aya and OG would be like? That's the real question here. Because I know I think they did talk in the episode. I think they were talking about wanting to go. I don't remember exactly where, but they did plan on like wanting to go somewhere, kind of like informally, like not as like a date, but
I totally remember this. It's a library date and then to a beach.
Oh yeah.
Cute. I'm into it.
I was like, that's cute.
Wow.
It seems like it's going to be a very chill and awkward date. Like you go to the library first and then to the beach, maybe have a cup of coffee in between there. And, you know, it's like a cute small date, but like, you know, it might be a little awkward here and there.
I like how Aya sees the opportunity. Like, because Ochi's like, oh man, like I was prepping for when Seina would say yes, because I have all these places in my mind and all these date places that we could go. But now it's just going to go to waste. And then Aya's like, well, it's not like completely a waste. I mean, yeah, we should, you know, check those places out sometime.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I feel like wherever they go, it's going to be so like, it's hard to say, like it's not going to be like high energy like ever, you know, like it's always going to be kind of chill and kind of like mellow and just kind of like short spurts of like conversation. Like I feel like a good date for them would be like a movie, you know, like something where you're not actually talking that much, you know. Like I feel like that's an ideal situation for them.
Yeah.
But if they are talking, yeah, like a coffee shop is like a great setting for them, you know?
Yeah, because like I think they still have like a chemistry where they can like try to make conversation with each other. So they don't need the movie too much to like not talk to each other.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I feel those two can like have a complete conversation with awkward glances.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
100%.
And they'd both be into it. I can totally see that.
Yeah. They both have this sort of like 2 year like they're both introverts, right? Like I think from what we can tell, like they're both pretty introverted. So like they kind of just match that energy together, and yeah, it just kind of works. It's interesting that kind of works for them at least. So we'll see if anything comes from this. Hopefully next episode, maybe we'll see them actually do the whole library and then beach not date. I don't know if I call it a date, but yeah, if we get to see that, hopefully next episode. But oh man, as much as we were talking about building relationships, there's a certain couple in the house that are they're going through some things, right, guys? They man, it's hard. Like, so what we're talking about is there was a scene where Hana and her friend, I always forget her friend's name, but she showed up on the show before. I'm fairly sure. Because that was the friend
was in the bar.
That was the friend that didn't like Daiki at first. I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So they actually did a photo shoot at Terrace House, which is like so sick. Like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, guys, imagine if we did a podcast in their kitchen.
Like that's never gonna happen.
That would be so sick. That's the dream. But anyways,
watch out, Japan. We're coming.
Oh my.
That would be horrible for us. I guarantee it. Anyways, so they have like a photo shoot at Terrace House, and it's really cool. They have really nice shots, and they go to I think they go to like a little coffee shop after, and they talk about Hana's experience being in the house with a boyfriend, and then the whole conversation of like them not going on dates like came up. So like, oh man. And then even like later on, where they had like a girls' night out between Hana, Michan, and Aya, they talk about how, oh man, they talk about how Hana and Daiki don't really go on dates. And it was really well done because it also cut back to like Daiki and Tae-chan just having a conversation at the house. And they were talking about basically the same thing, right? And it like they didn't flat out say it, or well, Hana didn't flat out say it. Daiki did say it like at the end of the episode, but for majority of that scene, they were kind of implying that they're gonna leave the house soon.
Yeah.
Oh man, so like I don't know. I have so many questions for you guys. Like, so they're not going on dates because they have like conflicting schedules, right? With
right.
Daiki's training and then Hana's modeling. It's just like they never it always intersects. And the only time that they actually do see each other is in the house. Kind of unfortunate because they never actually go on dates, I guess. So like, do you think like the relationship's gonna like go on as strong as they are once they leave the house?
No. Unless they like, I don't know, move in together. But even then, like, moving in together requires looking for a place together. But when are they going to do that?
That's true.
Right?
And like, they also have experience of living together. So if that's already tough for them, imagine living away from each other would be.
Yeah. And it's a lot of the same thing. Like, I know Daiki said that whenever Hana gets home, she gets really tired. So she ends up just like sleeping when she gets home. And so, oh man, like the only time that they're together and they can't even actually spend it together, you know? So it's so tough. It's so tough because they're both so busy and we support their careers so heavily.
Yeah, it's just really bad timing in terms of their life goals because they're both really close to, I guess, the pinnacle of their careers or maybe working towards that. Yeah, I guess it's just bad timing. Like, even though they have really good chemistry, just what do you want to prioritize? And if they both choose their careers,
that's true.
Then,
yeah.
I mean, okay, this kind of sucks for Hana because I remember in that girls' night out scene, she always mentions whenever she's dating someone, they only last for a few months.
Oh,
So it's gonna be the
And
same
it's
with
the
Daiki if they do break up.
same. Oh no.
Yeah.
I can kind
Oh,
of see them breaking
no.
up. Is that bad to say?
Yeah, I
Oh,
see it too.
no. Oh my
I mean, I
god.
wasn't really on board with this relationship just
You were not.
because, just because of how
Oh.
Daiki kind of treated her before the relationship started. So,
Mm.
But they look
Well-
like from like when they started dating, like it looked like everything was good, from what we've seen at least. But at the same time, it's just like, oh man, like if you think about it, like Daiki's fight is coming up and Hana's not gonna be there for his prep.
Mhm.
Like that, oh man, that just really like the importance of that week for their relationship is
Mhm.
oh my gosh.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Do you think that they didn't really resolve what happened before they started dating?
As in like the whole thing with the other girl?
With the other girl and with Taechan. I'm pretty sure with the Taechan thing they resolved it. But with the other girl, it seems like they just started dating and like they didn't really solve any problems that was occurring before it.
Or even go on any dates after they said, let's start dating.
Yeah, it's like I feel like they're hiding their issues towards each other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of building on to this like weird point in their relationship. So
Yeah, oh man, I feel like this is all just happening because of like stuff that's out of their control, like
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
if they were able to like sync their schedules together and like actually be able to hang out and go on dates and stuff,
Mhm.
I feel like we wouldn't be in this situation at all.
Right.
But it's the whole like fact that Daiki's training, Hana's modeling, and they can never cross paths. So whenever they do like actually see each other, even if it's just like for 2 minutes in the house, it's just going to be, positive vibes and stuff like that. But they're both smart enough to know that it's like, hey, like life isn't just positive vibes. Like there are definitely things that are happening in your life, but they're not getting the chance to tell each other about it.
Right. Yeah.
Sucks. Sucks, man.
I
I was rooting so hard for them. Sorry.
I know you were, James.
I think there's something fundamentally flawed with the both of them as
Right.
to why the relationship won't work out.
Mm.
And I think it comes down to they both love the chase. What really changed in between Daiki prepping for his first championship fight and Hana working? The only major reason why Hana won't be able to help Daiki prep for his second fight that we're going to see in the series is that she's going to be away in Hawaii for like a retreat with her company, I think, or her label or her model or whatever.
Yeah,
Sure.
something like that.
But other than that, how does her work schedule really changed? Or is it just she's just tired when she comes home and she doesn't want to cry? You know what I mean? Or Daiki gets back from training and he doesn't want to they're not giving the relationship the time that they put into when they were playing the game. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
That could be. I don't know. Things could have changed for Daiki in terms of his schedule. Once he became champion, and
Right.
once he, he talked about how his next fight is with this other company or whatever. So maybe that could have changed things. But even then, you are speaking a lot of good points because they did go on quite a few one-on-ones before they started dating.
Officially.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, oh man.
I think they just both got complacent and they're not nurturing the dating phase as much as they did as the courting phase. You know what I mean?
True. That's so crazy.
Are they the type of people to chase? That's the real question right there.
Now, are they willing to put in the work to make this relationship real?
I mean,
Ooh.
I get like
Right.
we're gonna get into it, but I feel like with what was confirmed, somewhat confirmed at the end of the episode, kind of made me think that they are committed to working on their relationship.
It's just
you know what I mean.
circumstantial.
Yeah,
You think so?
like kinda, but like there's again, as you said, like there's always something flawed between either them two as individuals or just a relationship itself. Because like I thought that like they didn't solve any issues before they started dating, and like they had a lot of issues before they started dating.
Yeah.
And then it could be combining with your point, Tim, where they could be just there for the chase and not too much into the relationship.
Damn.
Poor James.
Bro, I'm
He's
just
disappointed.
So, like, it's like it's I don't know. I'm just thinking like it must be so hard for them because they want to make things work, right? Like I keep thinking back to like when Daiki first like asked Hana to be his girlfriend, and like how happy he was when she finally said yes, and like how happy they were when they came back home, right? And then it's just like, oh man, to hear like, you know, just to hear of the couple that you've been like supporting and like rooting for, hearing that they have problems is just like, you know, it's really tough. It's really tough. And especially like when we learn, like, because we got to learn about some of like on the girls' night out, I felt like we learned a lot because, you know, like it wasn't just with like Hana, right? Like their girls' night out, I felt like was pretty important because we also talked about like Aya and Oji and how they're gonna have like their thing, and how like you could tell that like Aya was like super giddy about it. You know, like she was trying not to show it, but she was like laughing and giggling and like hiding her face and stuff like that. And we also got to learn about like Michan and like her dating history. And oh man, she's gone through it. Right?
Poor
Like
girl.
She deserved better.
Yeah.
She deserved better.
Actually, she does.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Like,
And cheated on with someone that she knew. Like,
and the other one with the secret girlfriend.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
Stringing her along, but not telling Michan that he has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Not right. That's not right.
he's
No.
gone through it, man.
But you know who would never do that to me?
Who, Tim? Who would never do that?
My boy Tetsu.
But it's so funny how we were like, we can kind of see it like last episode. Like we were kind of like, yeah, we could see it. And now we're just like, maybe. Oh my god, but if she's into Daiki,
Drama happens when
Daiki's
Hana leaves.
and Daiki and Hana are having trouble. What would happen if like, what if they like broke up, right? What if they broke up in the house, and Daiki stays after his fight, and then Hana leaves, right? Like that just opens up so many new possibilities. I don't know if I'm thinking too far into the future, but like that would be insane.
That would really make me question his character.
What?
Whoa, who's to say Daiki's the one that? What if Michan moves on Daiki?
Yeah, Daiki's not the one that's chasing.
Yeah.
Michan would make. What if she just hops on the opportunity?
So you're saying Michan is chasing?
Possibly.
I mean,
That's interesting.
okay, here's the thing. It could be, possibly, that could happen. But after like the stuff that she went through, do you really think that she's gonna do that?
I mean, Michan did say that she wants to fall in love in the house. She's actively looking to find love. And she also doesn't have like a goal right now. Like she wants to find her goal like while in Terrace House.
Sounds like someone's other backstory I know.
So maybe she like wants to use that to like help her find her. I don't know, man. that's it's so far into the future. We've known Miwako for like 5 minutes, so like, I don't know, man. I think I'm just like imagining like what would like a worst case scenario for Daiki and Hana right now, which is bad
Right.
because I still root for them. I still support them, and I want them to be happy, and I want them to leave the house together, and I want them to keep doing what they do. But anything can
Okay.
happen, man.
I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh, okay, thanks. But okay, here's the thing. Because of the way that Daiki was acting throughout the first episode, or not first episode, throughout this episode in the first half, and how he was acting in like the later half of the last episode, makes me think that once or if him and Hana break up, he's gonna jump at the chance for Michan.
I don't know.
I think he's just
James.
expressing interest in her large breasts. That's it. I mean, like, other than that, like, what else? Like,
Yeah, he doesn't really
Like-
know anything about her.
Unless
I feel like him and Aya both express the same, like, flabbergasted curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, maybe it came off more pervy in Daiki because he's a dude. And he noticed it first, and he couldn't stop smiling. But, like, you know, like, I think, yeah, him and Aya were, like, that same sort of, like they were just
Right.
both baffled. Like, really? How? What? How? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
it's-
the show has really done a good job of filling the void that Seina left.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
after she left, now we have 3 points of interest. We have OG and Aya.
Mm-hmm.
Will they, won't they? We have a Tae-chan, Mi-chan. Will they, won't they?
Right.
And now we have a Daiki Hana. Will they make it? Like,
Yeah.
all 6 characters are now engaged in a storyline of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
So,
Like, guys, just remember, Seina left the last episode.
I know.
yeah, right? But it feels so long ago now.
Yeah. Straight up, I remember the panelists were like, hey, like, when they were talking about what happened last episode, they were like, yeah, did they already forget that Seina, like, just left? Last episode, we made it such, like, for us, for our last episode, like, we made it such a big deal that Seina left the house.
There will be a void, right? We
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
exactly. And then we get to the start of this episode, and it's like, hey, Seina, who?
Oh no.
So
Poor
crazy,
girl.
which is so crazy. Seina, we love you.
We love you, Seina.
We
So
love
much.
Seina. Like her story was wrapped. She's off
Yeah.
to Paris. You know, what's his face is gone for good this time.
Oh, thank
He's not
goodness.
coming back. There's no reason for him to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I
yeah,
mean, she's not in Paris yet. She's at her parents' house.
that's true.
When she was in the call with
packing.
OG.
She's
she's at her-
packing her life
you
before
go.
Paris.
That's true.
Yeah.
You think we'll see Seina next episode in like a group like visit?
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think so. I think
Or-
Seina saying that she would love for everyone to meet up is more of her just saying like a soft no.
Right.
Mm,
And it's probably going to be hard to get a day where everyone can meet up.
Exactly, especially with Daiki and Hana.
Yeah. So OG has been given the impossible task of coordinating everything.
right.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay.
Mm.
Well, there's not a lot of episode left for us to talk about. So the one thing that I really wanted to ask you guys, which I kind of wanted to do almost every episode, now that there's like a full panel that's here, and I like briefly did it like when they first showed up, but how do you guys feel about the panelists this episode?
More laughs, more engaging and more like tidbits thrown here and there. But I still think that the cast is like, well, in this episode specifically, they're still playing a supporting role to like the main versus like, I guess what Terrace House ends up becoming later in the series, where the panel is more of the focus and their commentary is more of the focus.
I wouldn't say
I think.
that.
Oh,
I
you wouldn't say
they're
that?
the
Okay.
focus.
Okay.
I would just say that like you like they're very recognizable in later seasons. Like I don't know how to say it, but basically like of course the house is the main thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like but it's like if you're talking to a friend about something, right? Let's say like I'm talking to you about, or I'm talking to you guys about like the latest musical that we all watched or something like that, right? So let's say we all watched Hamilton, right? Or we all watched it together.
Yeah.
And after that, like we go for drinks and we're talking about Hamilton the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. That's a very good, very memorable experience, right? And it's the same thing with the panelists, because it's like those panelists are now your friends that you're talking to about it, right? And especially now that there's 6 of them, like you're getting all of these different, like you're just gaining like more friends, and you're gaining all these like different perspectives or like other like little tidbits from different people. So like I guess like that's what it is that makes the panel so like memorable. But I don't think they take the spotlight per se from the house. Yeah.
Okay. Well, to wrap up my thoughts, I think the show has gotten to a point where it's really the panelists have like a really good strong point that they contribute to the show. You know, the housemates, you know, obviously have like really good strong points that they bring into the show. But now I feel that the quality of the episode and just the amount of content is being limited by their airtime. If an episode had a longer runtime, I think they can make use of both halves of the show. But right now, because they still only have like a 22, 25-minute window, it feels very compressed. And I feel that we can get more content from both sides if the runtime was a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think they're limiting themselves right now. It's really obvious to me that they're getting, I guess, cut off. They're not their full potential because they have such short time. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I mean, I 100% agree with you. It does feel very compressed in due to the runtime. If they kept that, 30 minutes? Like for this version of it, like if they kept that 30-minute runtime, then if anything, I would just want to get rid of the panel completely and make more room for the people that are living in there, because that's the whole point of the show anyways, right? Like you're experiencing the lives of the 6 people that are living in Terrace House. So to me, if they kept that 30-minute runtime, the panel seems like, no offense, they kind of seem useless to me in a way. And like as I said before, if they had that runtime, then they should have made a separate show where the panel talks about the Terrace House itself.
Right. You're right. I feel you. Kind of like an after show. For
Yeah. Like what we're doing in a sense, but like
right.
TV format.
Okay. Interesting. Like I am not sure if it's not just because of like my bias towards them, just because I've seen them and like I really like, I don't know, just because like I've seen all the other seasons and stuff.
Right.
But I like definitely disagree with you guys. And like no, like I understand what you guys are saying, right? But think about all of the content that we got in this episode, right? We got a lot of content, and we just talked about a lot of content, right? And what did the panel do for this? They basically did what they were told to do. Like they kind of reaffirmed our thoughts on a few things. And once again, like I don't think they really took that much time. They took maybe like 2 minutes out of the runtime. But in that 2 minutes, they gave us like, you know, a little side comedy where they were laughing at some stuff. And when we were watching, like Tim, you kind of like laughed at some of the stuff they said too, right?
Yeah.
And at some points, like they talked about something, and we were all like, yeah, that's exactly what we were thinking as well. Right. So I don't know. It could really just be me being a supporter of them, but it just feels like I'm watching the show with friends or with people, and we're kind of like, putting in our little 2 cents while it's going. So I don't know. I don't see a problem with them, but I understand that it's different because I've seen all of the other stuff into which episodes have been 45 minutes to an hour. And you guys haven't. So it's I guess it's a different experience, which is why you guys are here. Which is great. It's really great. It's really great to see that.
I mean, like, if you talk about biases, like me and Tim are so used to watching a straight on like
episode,
straight on episode without any, like, I guess in a sense, interruption with like panelists. So, and like, if anything, if we're wanting to see people talk about it, we would go on YouTube and find someone who has a podcast to do it, or like someone who has a reaction video about it. So like,
that's actually very interesting that you say that, because like we're living in a time right now where podcasts are a big thing. That's why we started this podcast, is because it's like, hey, podcasts are kind of big and we're going to talk about stuff. So that's like why we started it. But back then, like, I don't think podcasts were as big back then, not as like common. Right. So back then you couldn't really do that. Right. So your only chance to get that sort of feel was if you talked to your friends or the panelists in the show, right? Like that could be your one outlet into seeing like perspectives on what you're watching. Like I remember I watched this YouTube video. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was gonna send it to you guys, but I completely forgot. But they were talking about Terrace House, and they were talking about how we consume media just in general, right? Because there are different ways to consume media. Like there's the direct thing of which like you watch a show, and then there are other ways to consume media in the sense that like what we're doing right now, like talking to each other about the show, right? And Terrace House has that good mixture of doing both, because you get the show that you're watching, but then at the same time you get these little tidbits of other people talking about it, and you just get to like, and you get to be like, oh yeah, like that's something that I didn't think about, or yeah, like that's something that I definitely thought about, and like that's another way for like your mind to consume it. And there's this whole like science behind it or whatever, but I don't remember it, but yeah, it's very interesting how the three of us are kind of like differentiating about a lot of this stuff. It's pretty cool.
I mean, like for me, so in high school I used to watch a lot of Teen Wolf. Which is, werewolves, which was big back in the day. But
vampire, werewolf, Twilight era.
Exactly. So Teen Wolf actually had an after show on MTV where they actually discuss about the episode, and then they actually get the actors to come in for an interview and explain how the filming process goes. So like, in terms of Terrace House, I wish that sort of thing happens so we can get like a more insider
look.
Yeah, exactly. And like if we get some people from the house to do an interview about it, that would have been so cool. And like you can probably find out what stuff from the show did they cut out. Like
well, they're like, it's hard to, it was probably hard to do that back then because they only had like that one time slot on TV. Like they probably just didn't buy a second half-hour time slot for that. So they put the panelists directly in it. Plus, this show is filmed on a week-to-week basis. So having Taechan, like bringing Taechan onto the show after, like I feel like that would kind of ruin the genuineness. It would ruin the reality of the reality show, because this is like the closest thing to actual like reality that we're getting. Like we've talked about how it's like this show is not as scripted as an American reality show, right?
Right.
So yeah, I feel like bringing a member who's still in the house to talk about what happened maybe like a couple days ago for them would kind of ruin the experience, even for like the next episode, because it's like you're already finding out like what these people are saying due to like them being on the panel or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know, but it's a very
Right.
interesting concept
Mm-hmm.
to have like that would happen.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was someone that like just left the house.
Yeah, that would have been
That'd be-
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like imagine imagine if this episode they brought in Seina.
No.
That'd be
They
so
bring in
crazy.
Oh,
for this
Yikes.
one, and then he'll try to bring his rep up
Stop.
again.
Yikes. That would be hilarious.
you know what I really miss though from the earlier seasons of Boys and Girls Next Door was I guess the whole meta feeling of them watching an episode of Terrace House while they're in the house.
That's true. We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. We need one of those.
Yes,
We definitely need one of those.
Mhm.
But I think we need it.
I want to see. Sorry,
Yeah.
I want to see Mi-chan's reaction to what Daiki
no.
and Aya were doing on the couch.
Honestly, I feel like she'd be okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
she has to
right?
be like
'Cause-
confident. in
Well, I
her
mean,
body
like
to
she
do this
knows
stuff.
she's a swimsuit model. She knows,
Yeah.
like, you know, she's got really good styling features on to be on a cover of a magazine. So obviously, you know,
But
she
still,
won't be offended. Like,
yeah. But still, that would be hilarious.
yeah,
Oh my
right.
Yeah.
goodness.
Like we need to have them watching the past episode, the episode after something that this person didn't know about. Like, you know how every time when they would watch an episode, it would be when Taechan confessed to someone else that he was into Rie or something like that, or like
Mhm.
yeah, like stuff like that. And then it's like the person watches back and they're like, eh? Like what?
Yeah.
Like that'll be hilarious. But yeah, that's yeah. Are there anything else that you guys want to talk about in terms of like what could happen next episode?
Not that I can think of.
I think the next episode is going to be dates. I think we're going to get an excursion with Aya and Oji. I think
Oh,
Mi-chan and Taechan are going to go out because when Taechan was showing her around, he's like, "Oh, I totally forgot to show you this thing," and she's like, "Oh, next time." Like, yeah, next time. So there will be a next time. And yeah, I think Daiki and Hana are going to get some screen time. I think we have some unanswered questions. Maybe not next episode, but the episode after.
mm-hmm.
For sure. That'll be exciting. That'll be very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chess, anything else, or are you good?
I mean, I agree with Tim, but I really want to see this Hana and Daiki thing go down.
Go down as in like see what happens, or go down as in like just end it.
Let the ship sink. No, I'm joking.
She said she's put in the armor.
Oh no.
No, I just want to see how, like, everything, works out, I guess.
How everything plays out.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out, then goodbye.
Then
Goodbye.
it's been good. It's been good, boys.
It's
Oh,
been
man.
real.
It's been real.
That's a good one.
Yeah, just the whole thing with Daiki and Hana. I just want to see what happens with that. And like sprinkle in a little bit of Oji and Aya, sprinkle in a little bit of Mi-chan and whoever, but mainly just Hana and Daiki right now. I want to see that get resolved, hopefully, or whatever it is. And then just move on. Just something real quick and then move on, I guess. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. It's been an episode.
It has
quite an
been.
In a episode already.
Yes.
But before we leave, of course, I gotta remind you guys to like and subscribe, of course,
And
if you're on
comment.
YouTube. Yes, like,
Down
subscribe,
below.
and comment on anything that we talked about today. Well, we would love to start a conversation. And yeah, it would be really fun. And yeah, if
Let us know your predictions down below.
that's what I
Guys
was
think
trying to
that,
say.
Daiki and
That's definitely what
Hana
I was
are going to
definitely
end
what I
up.
was
Let
gonna
us know. Do you think that the Aya ship and OG ship are going to work out, or do you think
Oh.
it should be switched? Maybe it should be Aya and Hei-chan,
Oh,
say. Oh my
or
goodness.
Aya and Mi-chan. Oh, who knows? Anything can happen.
Ooh.
Tetsu and OG, the Tetsu gang, Tetsu squared.
yes.
Who knows?
Stop
Tetsu
this.
squared.
Stop this. We gotta stop this. We're getting out of hand. We gotta stop the episode, guys. Oh man,
Let
but
us know down below.
of course, We the Panel is available on all podcasting platforms. That means we're on Spotify. That means we're on Apple Podcasts,
Mhm.
Google Podcasts, all other podcasting platforms. You can find it on our Anchor at anchor.fm/we-the-panel, or you could just search We the Panel in the search bar in whatever podcasting app you're using. And if you see a brown background with a gray house, hey, that's us. And before we get into before we get into personal socials, this is a reminder that we are on Instagram at We the
Yeah.
Panel Pod, where we post highlights of the past episode and also other little tidbits of stuff. I don't know. I'm still kind of like trying to figure out what we're gonna do with our Instagram.
Mhm.
So yeah, just if you want to stay updated on what we're up to, follow us there. But if you want to follow us personally, we do have our own socials. So Tim, our resident Tim, who is not in his usual setup today, but we digress from that. Where can we find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on my personal Insta down below. I believe it's Timbit1997. And you can also find my YouTube channel linked down below. Yeah.
And of course, we have our resident TikToker, Cheska. Where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Cheska Camille _. You maybe find some new TikToks in there. It's kind of embarrassing, but you know what? I'm gonna live through it.
Of course. And of course, you could find me on all of my socials, which will be tagged down below in the description. It'll be my Instagram and it'll be my YouTube, where I do some music stuff. Tim's in a couple of the videos. Jay is in a couple of the videos. I'll throw his socials and stuff down there too. He does Twitch. Twitch is a big thing that he does. He plays. What does he play? He plays like.
He plays Destiny on there. He plays Red Dead Redemption. He plays a little bit of Star Wars: Knights of the Republic. Yeah, it's a fun time. Just join him. Sometimes we play the Wikipedia game on his.
Yeah, he told me you guys played that. Yeah,
it's a fun time. Yeah, go check out his Twitch.
Yeah,
You find him, and I'll probably be in the chat room too. And yeah, it's a fun time.
For sure. But of course, it has been a time.
It has been
a great time. And from myself, James, Tim, and Cheska, we are We the Panel, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Sleep warmly, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.